This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Yes, follow the money. Paulie and JJ, VSiN, the sports betting network. Big program coming up. Always live downtown in Circa, where all the fun goes on. Adam Aronson, voice of Philly, coming up. 10 minutes on the big news. Brian Geltzeiler. Also, we'll talk some college football with Tim Murray and Chris Vanini. JJ, I can't believe it. I'm stunned. On the 24th day of indecision in what's going to be his 24th year, not a 1 year, but a 2-year deal to go to Philly. The King goes to Philadelphia. Kenny Pickett makes more money the upcoming season than LeBron James. He was 8.9% on Kelce. He was 12-1 at DraftKings. The only person I heard that had this and was strong on it was Joe House, that he would wind up in Philadelphia. I don't understand where all the Golden State money was coming from. They still remain the third choice at DraftKings, and Kelce throughout, even though not once, not twice, but 3 times, Shams said they were out and were not in the running to get LeBron. He goes to Philadelphia, and the big movement now, it was only about 10 minutes, but they were as low as plus 250 to win the East at DraftKings. They're now plus 340 to win the East, 8-9-1 to win the title, 2-1 to win the division behind the champs, the Knicks. And a perfect guy to talk to, Mr. New Yorker, what you think is they're gunning. And Brad Stevens opened the door. The ridiculous trade. You blow a 3-1 series lead to your rival. Then you trade Brown. They were not even on LeBron's radar. You get Brown July 1st. That's a big reason why he goes to Philadelphia today in a stunning move.
No question about it. First of all, Paulie, I love the fact that I'm here with you and we finally have the news once and for all. When I got the notification on Twitter, I had to do a double take. I had to make sure I didn't get duped because there are so many of these fake accounts out there. I'm basically expecting the worst. And my first reaction is, holy smokes, not Cleveland, not Miami, Philly. But if you peel back the layers here, and if you try to figure out why Philadelphia and LeBron James is going to end up being a match made in heaven for the next 2 years, it's pretty simple. Because to me, Paulie, out of these 4 destinations, Philadelphia gives him the best chance to win. That's just the reality of the situation. Cleveland has a bunch of losing players on their team, and there are no relationships between LeBron James and Donovan Mitchell. Then you look at the Miami situation. Where is the shooting coming from? LeBron needs shooters alongside Giannis to go and have success. Miami not exactly in a position to go and get them because, hey, they just gave up so much to get Giannis to begin with. And then there was this fantasy of, LeBron and Steph joining forces in Golden State. The problem with that is that team doesn't have a prayer of taking down Oklahoma City or taking down Wemby and the San Antonio Spurs. So I think LeBron said, hey, minimum money. I have a relationship with Maxey because he's a clutch guy and he's a stud. Edgecombe, really nice young player. They go and add Jaylen Brown. I haven't even mentioned Joel Embiid, who now is a luxury for this basketball team. Listen, they're going to be really, really good. They're going to be super versatile. They're going to be outstanding defensively. That said, though, as somebody that lives here in the Big Apple, Paulie, I am relishing the possibility of the defending champs, my beloved New York Knicks, who took care of me a couple of months ago with a 15-1 ticket. Nothing would make me, Paulie Howard, than sending LeBron James into the retirement home, a loser.
Yep.
And the city a loser after hopefully my Knicks can go and take them down. And I'm telling you right now, if they match up in a 7-game series, I'll take the champs any day of the week and twice again on Sunday.
It's going to be a tough fit because you got 4 big guys. Now you look and 4 of the 5 guys averaged 21 a game last year, and then you got Edgecombe with 16 a game. But how Brown wants all his shots. There's only one basketball. Embiid, listen, there's no way he's going to last 3 or 4 series. He can't do it. He's played 57 games the last 2 years. I say under 51.5 wins. It's going to take a while to get going and figure this out as well. Just look what we went through in L.A. when LeBron was the third option. and how long that took. Now, once they figured it out in February, it was great before Reeves and Luka got hurt. So I got concerns about only one basketball, and I would say they're going to play up-tempo, though, too, because these guys are fantastic in transition. That's one thing I would look at. Also, Chris Vanini, who's coming on, pointed this out. Also, thanks to the listener who sent this in on X, you only have 4 players in history that have won a title with 3 different teams. LeBron, Sally, Danny Green, and Ori. And LeBron would be the only player in history to do it 4 titles, 4 different teams. The other thing, can he pull this off? He's probably going to live in New York or Jersey and do the helicopter thing.
It is crazy to think about, but these are first world problems for me and you. Yeah. I mean, we can't have the helicopter on standby. Maybe you can to go from Vegas to wherever it's taken you over the course of the weekend. I know most certainly my car is going to have to do driving around New York City. But it is feasible, though, Paulie. That's the thing. Like, I made the trip to Philadelphia last week for the All-Star game, and I'm taking Amtrak, and I'm down there in an hour and 15 minutes. So if LeBron James wants to live in, like, northern New Jersey, where he's, like, equidistant between Philly and New York, and you're throwing in helicopters, and, you know, the golf has been a big theme of mine. LeBron is going to want to be set up on a bunch of these really, really nice golf courses. I mean, between what they have in Philly with Lower Merion and whatnot, what they have in Jersey, where you can find 10 zillion beautiful places from Liberty National to Bayonne to Due Process to Bedminster, wherever. He can play wherever the hell he wants at the best of the best golf courses and have New York in his back pocket, Philly in that roster. And it does only reiterate the point. Paulie, if the Knicks had lost this series to the San Antonio Spurs, I think we would have been living in a world where LeBron James was a New York Knick. Yes. However, LeBron is smart enough to realize this, and the Knicks were smart enough to realize this. LeBron going to the Knicks now would have been lose-lose for both parties, because for LeBron, if he wins, it's, oh, you hopped on a championship team, you took the easy way out again, He can take a lot of hate for that. If he went to the Knicks and they didn't win, Paulie, over the next 2 years, it doesn't matter if it's Karl Anthony Towns' fault or Jalen Brunson diminishes, whatever it might be. People would have looked around New York City and they would have stared at LeBron James and they would have said, hey, guess what, buddy boy? You came to a championship team and the next 2 years they didn't win a championship. That's on you. Philly doesn't have that. Philly has not been in the NBA Finals since the days of Allen Iverson.
Yeah.
It is a basketball city searching for relevance. Paulie, in the playoffs last year, do you remember watching Game 3 and Game 4, Knicks Sixers? Half the building, if not more than half the building, was rooting for the New York Knicks. So I think Philly, by bringing in LeBron, they're trying to win a championship, but they're trying to rediscover an edge to a basketball city that's kind of fallen in the abyss compared to where the Eagles are and where the Phillies are.
Yeah, totally agree. You're right. I didn't know how bad it was. Haven't won a title since 83. Haven't been in the finals since 01. Have one division title since 2002. Embiid's never made a conference final. So he can come in right now and save the day and be a hero. They were 100-1 to get Jaylen Brown. They were 30-1 what they opened at to get LeBron. A couple other things here, too. You are right. He was going to be a Knick if they didn't win the title. He was going to be a Cav if they would have acquired Kyrie, or, if, to my opinion, if they didn't trade Garland for Harden, or if they would have traded Mobley. Mobley better be a Hall of Famer, because they could have traded Mobley and acquired Brown and then added LeBron as well. And I feel for my guys in Cleveland who were so strong on this, they thought it was a done deal, and it didn't happen. Full marks to his camp that they can keep a secret, airtight what they did, that nobody had this, and he was 8.9% today to go to the Sixers. But also on Brad Stevens, too, that you made Philly a contender and maybe better than you are now with how you looked at Jaylen Brown and how you made this trade and helped them out, because he wasn't going to Philly until they got Brown, and now they have all this star power in Philly as well. So bad job by Stevens. Bad job by Altman and the Cavs for moves they made. They're down to like 10-11-1 now. Oh, I don't know what moves maybe they can trade Allen, but this is a bad offseason for the Cavs, considering what it looked like against the Knicks in the conference finals, and now you couldn't get LeBron to come home as well. But this also adds a ton of intrigue in the East, and you said it as well. 76ers at the Knicks on ring night to start the season. Sign me up.
Oh, you can book it right now. And you look at that odds board. Philly has moved quite a bit to 9-1. The Celtics have moved down. To me, the big two losers of this offseason, the Boston Celtics losing Jaylen Brown and bringing in Paul George, I'm sorry, does absolutely nothing for me. The other one I would look at, what has Detroit and Cleveland done to make their teams better? Yeah. I mean, Detroit, I thought they were going to have a very active offseason after being the 1 seed. They've done nothing. Cleveland misses out on LeBron James. They have done nothing. And remember I said this, Paulie. If Tyrese Halliburton can get back to where he was 2 years ago, there is unbelievable value with the Indiana Pacers at 40-1. Now, I know why it's priced at 40-1. It's priced that way because the East is a lot better, and there are questions about how he's going to look coming back from that injury. But with that coach, they match up really well with the New York Knicks. That's the price that's staring me in the face saying, man, I want action on that 40-1.
I'm with you on the Pacers. Great job by Bob Myers with the 76ers. He went on the Rich Paul podcast, and I guess there were breadcrumbs there as well when LeBron at the Fanatics convention did the trust the process line as well, calling it his last decision, 2-year, $8 million deal to go to Philadelphia, and really helps the legacy if he brings them a championship and becomes the only player, 4 titles, 4 different cities. We go to Philly. Adam Aronson coming up next, what he thinks of the move and if they are title contenders, coming up next.
First time I get to talk about Circa Grandissimo. Never would I have dreamed of 69 entrants into Circa Grandissimo.
Scar tissue still fresh from week 1 last season. I'm back at Circa, an amazing feeling week 1. It's such a different ball game where over 15,000 entries move on to week 2. The bomb is coming. We just don't know when.
That's the NFL. Any given Sunday, anything can and will happen.
Rule number 1, survive.
Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on VSiN.
This is VSiN, a network of sports betting analysts, writers, hosts, and handicappers, all here to help you become a more confident bettor. We broadcast live every day from Las Vegas, the sports betting capital of the world, and from studios across the country, giving you insight from every angle of the action. Take VSiN with you wherever you go with the VSiN Watch app, or catch us on streaming platforms and regional sports networks. You can also listen live on SiriusXM Channel 158 and on radio stations nationwide. Check out VSiN.com as well for betting tools, exclusive betting splits, AI-powered player prop projections from Opta, pro picks for every game, plus in-depth betting guides and articles built to give you an edge. From sharp betting analysis and daily best bets to insider interviews and expert breakdowns, VSiN is your trusted source for everything happening in the world of sports betting. See everything we have to offer at VSiN.com and become part of the Sports Betting Network.
Hey everybody, Dave Ross here from VSiN by the Books. Join me and my man Jensen Lewis on Monday. Going to give you our reactions to the winner of the 3M Open in Minneapolis and a weekend's worth of Major League Baseball, as well as being a week away from the trade deadline. So stick around for VSiN senior editor Zach Cohen with his surprise pick to win NFL MVP. Will Hill drops by, and what teams he thinks might be looking to make a move before that deadline. It's VSiN by the Books, Friday 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
What a way to go into the weekend. The bombshell today, LeBron James to Philadelphia. For more on this story, Adam Aronson joins us now, Sixers beat writer from the Philly Voice at Sixers Adam on X. He's on the Progressive guest line. He has a great article up on LeBron and how he thinks it'll fit in Philly. Appreciate the time. I know you're a busy man. Let's start with your article. And you got 4 guys here who averaged at least 21 a game last year. What do you think of the fit?
I think the fit is good. There are certainly going to be sort of kinks for everybody to figure out. There are going to be probably growing pains early on in the season, but this is just so much talent, and it's not just individual talent, particularly when you talk about Joel Embiid, LeBron James, and Tyrese Maxey. Those are players that make the guys around them better. I think no player in the history of the NBA has probably made his teammates better more than LeBron James, and there's a lot of high IQ talent here. And I think that all of that is going to coalesce into something really impressive for the Sixers. Of course, it might take some time, but I think the fit is really strong. I think particularly because you look at, the primary concern with any Sixers team for years has been, we can't put too much on Joel Embiid. How are we going to keep Joel Embiid healthy through not just a regular season, but theoretically a deep playoff run? And when you're adding a guy who's going to turn 42 years old before the new year to your team, you also have to figure out what is the best way to manage him. How do we keep him running so that he's at his best late in the season and into the playoffs? I think the fact that Joel Embiid and LeBron James don't just have each other to lean on, but have, 2 of the highest volume scorers in the league in Tyrese Maxey and Jaylen Brown, plus VJ Edgecombe, who will continue to ascend in his second year. I think it gives the Sixers an opportunity they've never had before in terms of not just being a good team when they don't have Embiid on the court, but also really pacing Joel in a way that will be to his long-term benefit.
Okay, Adam. LeBron is Sixer because this team gives him the best chance to win a championship. Obviously, Philadelphia's got a ton of talent. Maxey's a stud. I love Edgecombe. You go and get Jaylen Brown, and then there's the Embiid question. How much is he going to play? I never really took Philly seriously in these sweepstakes. I figured a reunion in Cleveland inevitable. Then Pat Riley and Giannis are lurking. But out of these 4 quote-unquote suitors, Philly did have the best roster on paper. Was that ultimately the difference?
I think it was. Look, he certainly wasn't doing this for money. He signed a 1+1 at the minimum salary. Mm-hmm. He was not doing this to take the easy way out. Everybody knows the reputation that us Philly sports media members have. He was not doing this to avoid pressure. This is going to be the most highly anticipated Sixers season in decades. He's doing this because he wants to win. And I think he looked at it. I think you're exactly right. And he said, this is the best roster that if I join it, I'm going to win. And time will tell if he's right. I haven't looked at what the odds say about whether the Sixers are favored to win the East or the finals or not. I would imagine San Antonio and OKC are still sort of the co-favorites, but I think this is probably, of the teams that he was reportedly considering, to me, it's the easiest one to sort of make the case for. That doesn't mean it's necessarily the most likely to happen. There are obviously major risks here, including, I think the one that will get the most publicity, as it probably should, is the constant will he or won't he be available with Joel, who still is the force that if this team does win, he's going to be the one that powers it. We saw it in that Boston series. He has the ability to dominate a game and a series to the extent that he just completely swings it in the Sixers direction on his own. And we don't know how often he'll play. That's been a theme with him for years, particularly the last 2. But I think it says a lot about what LeBron, as a basketball mind, thinks about the pieces that the Sixers have in place and how he can accentuate a lot of those guys. And I think you saw him sort of step into more of a background role with the Lakers late in the season last year before Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves got hurt. And you see sort of a blueprint. The Sixers don't have exact players that are like Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves in style, but they have similar high usage guys that LeBron can fit around. And then when the time comes for LeBron to take over, we all know LeBron can do that.
You brought up the money. According to reports, Miami offered double the money. And you asked about the odds, Adam. They are they are tied with the Knicks. Third choice at 9-1. They are the second choice to win the East. How do you feel about that?
I'm not shocked. I also, from what I understand, there's always that sort of initial rush of action with a move like this, but I understand it. When you look at the starting five on paper, I cannot remember that many starting fives that have been assembled in the NBA that look as good as this. Like, I think about the Celtics group that won a title a few years ago. I think about, obviously, the Golden State dynasty teams that Bob Myers, who's now very involved with the Sixers, put together during his time in Golden State. There are very few starting fives, even with a 21-year-old sophomore to be guard in ZJ as part of it, that have this much talent. And I think it's really easy to look at this on paper and be pretty enthusiastic. Now, of course, you don't win a championship in the offseason in July. There's a lot of work to be done. There are flaws with this team, I would argue. As far as depth is concerned, they have 8 guys that I'm confident can play in a rotation for a high-level team. You probably want more like 9 or 10. I'm not sure who's getting the most stops on this team. I think LeBron at 41, soon to be 42, can be somewhat of a defensive weak link. Joel, if he's not moving well, can really be exposed in space. Like, this is not a perfect team, but the talent and the high-end talent particularly is just so monstrous that I think you have to take them seriously as championship contenders for the same reason that, this team beat the Celtics last year. I don't think anybody thought that the Sixers were a better team than the Celtics, but in the playoffs, oftentimes it's your high-end talent that wins you these games and these series, and that's what won the Sixers that series last year. So it's certainly a compelling roster, even if it is flawed, but I would not say that, especially in a loaded Eastern Conference, that we should be, that Sixers fans should be buying their NBA Finals tickets just yet.
PhillyVoice.com, Sixers beat writer Adam Aronson with us on the Progressive Guest Line. Were you more surprised today or when they acquired Jaylen Brown?
I was more surprised today, I would say, just thinking of it, sort of zooming out and thinking of this through the lens of what the last couple of years have been like for the Sixers. 2 years ago, they're supposed to be championship contenders again. They win 24 games. They end up tanking for the last 2 months of the season, and that was successful. And this day probably doesn't come if they don't pull the plug on that season and get VJ Edgecombe out of it, by the way. And, last year, just this crazy roller coaster ride. First it was great, then it was disappointing, then it was great, then it was disappointing. They looked dead in the water against the Celtics. They played the 3 best games that they've played in years to win that series. And then all of a sudden they just get humiliated by the Knicks in a sweep in the second round, where for the second time in 3 years, their arena is getting taken over by fans of another team in a playoff series.
Yes.
For all of that to happen, and then for it to turn into arguably the best player in the history of the sport deciding he wants to join the team, that to me is more surprising than anything else, even if, there have been weeks and weeks of rumors. And to me, it seemed pretty clear that they were legitimate contenders. I wouldn't have necessarily said they were favorites, but it seemed pretty clear to me by this morning that they had a chance. That to me is what makes this so shocking. If you're just talking about in the moment reaction, the Jaylen Brown thing is probably more surprising because that had not really been rumored. But this one, when you just zoom out and think on a larger scale about everything that has led to this point, it's pretty remarkable to think about.
Okay, Adam. 2 years. What defines success? We know the Sixers have not been in the NBA Finals since 2001 and Allen Iverson. Getting there good enough? Do they have to win it all? What is Philly going to view as a successful tenure here for LeBron over the next 2 years?
Well, look, I think LeBron is coming here to win. I don't think LeBron is coming here to break the Sixers' infamous Eastern Conference Finals drought. I don't think that is really his interest. LeBron has played in, I would imagine, as many conference finals as anybody of all time. I don't think that just getting there is even satisfactory to him either. That certainly would be a major improvement from what the Sixers have been able to accomplish in the playoffs for years. But I think everybody involved is doing this together to try to win a championship. And I think what you can take solace in if you're the Sixers is that even if, 2 years come and go and you haven't won a championship, Tyrese Maxey will still be 27 years old at this point in 2 years. VJ Edgecombe will have just had his 23rd birthday. And those two guys still represent the future of this organization. And when you get a player of this caliber, and even if he's not what he once was, LeBron is still, when he's playing, probably roughly an all-NBA caliber player. It usually requires gutting your team somehow, whether that's trading a bunch of draft picks, whether that's trading a bunch of players, whether that's salary dumping players to free up cap space. The Sixers did not have to do any of that. To get a player of this magnitude without upending anything they had, without sacrificing any spending power whatsoever, it's pretty remarkable. It's an opportunity that teams generally just don't get, to have a player like this just join what they have. And at the same time, they still have these longer-term pillars of the future that they can lean on, who I think will end up having, been better off for having played with LeBron. So I think, they need to win, but are they going to win? I would think that, of course, it's the goal, but whether or not it happens, I think they have not upended the long-term future of the franchise, and that's what's better off for them.
Great job, Adam. Thanks for a few minutes. Know you're busy. Enjoy the weekend.
All right, thanks.
Chris Vanini, college football up next. I think the SEC hurt themselves this week.
The biggest contest we've ever seen.
Seriously, what's the guarantee?
They're still talking about it.
I think it's time to put the rumors to rest.
Showtime.
$30 million.
$30 million?
$30 million? $30 million?
That's $30 million guaranteed. 3 contests, multiple ways to win, no rate. Entry starting at $1,000. Enter in Nevada, play from anywhere.
Elevate your sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup. Then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to vsin.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Paulie and JJ with you, Sirius XM, channel 158. Little shift to college football coming up with our guy Chris Vanini with The Athletic. Follow him on X. He's on the Progressive Guest Line. Does an excellent job. Little wrestling tweets in there as well. But first of all, thanks for the time. I like what you said about the LeBron move. That how do you think the Celtics fans and the organization feels that you're up on Philly 3-1, blow the lead, you help out your rivals, and they surpass you, and it looks like they have a better team on paper?
Yeah, that was one of my first thoughts when the LeBron news came down 3 months ago, almost 3 months to the day. The Celtics were up 3-1 in the series, looking like they're going to move on to the second round. The Sixers failed again. Suddenly, here we are. The Sixers make that comeback in the first round. They get Jaylen Brown from the trade that shocked everybody, and now they get LeBron on a gigantic discount on top of that. That's an Eastern Conference contender that 3 months ago I don't think anybody saw coming. So got a feel for Celtic fans.
No kidding. That'd also be something, too. Your tweet that he would be the first player to win 4 titles in 4 different cities. What an accomplishment that would be.
Yeah, that was, I had not actually, until I looked up after I posted it the first time, but my first thought was, if he wins a championship here, it's 4 different teams that he will have done so, at least 3 of which in which he was the best player on the team. He'll be a key part of this one if it happens. Nobody's ever done that. Only 4 players have ever won 3 with 3 different teams. Robert Horry, John Sally, and Danny Green, and LeBron is the other one. So, for all the talk of all the rings Michael Jordan has, different things, if LeBron could do that on 4 different teams, the only player to ever do that, that's a mark that nobody else will be able to match.
Do you think the SEC hurt themselves this week with some of the talking points and whether it's breaking away? And I can't believe right out of the gate, Sark is talking about, again, if we didn't play Ohio State, we would have gone to the playoff, which you lost to Florida. You got blasted by Georgia and had to go overtime with Kentucky and Miss State. And Kiffin was saying some of the same stuff, too, about a 3-loss team.
It has been an off season of complaining from the SEC. It happened in spring meetings. It happened at Media Day as well. And there's a few reasons for it. Mostly, they feel like their schedules are incredibly tough and they should be rewarded by the playoff committee for that. Never mind the fact that the SEC got 5 of the 7 at-large spots last year anyway, or 4 or 5 of them. Like, the committee has favored the SEC so far, but this year the SEC is going to 9 conference games. That means half the league's going to have an extra loss. Everybody's schedule is getting a little bit tougher.
Yep.
Texas has a very, very difficult schedule. They got Ohio State again. They're trying to get ahead of it. They were complaining to the CFP folks in the spring that the metrics need to favor them more. That continued this week. They haven't won a championship in a while, and so it comes off as a bit complaining.
Okay, Chris, let's look at the sport right now. It's July 24th. Realistically, how many teams can win this title? 5, 6, or is that too many?
I mean, last year, the last team that made it in the field, Miami, goes to the championship game. So, how big can it be this year? I want to say 7, maybe. I think I'm about there. Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Notre Dame, Texas, Indiana, Miami. After that, I'm not sure about Ole Miss. I'm not sure about A&M.
Okay.
We'll see with LSU and Lane Kiffin. Can Texas Tech take the next step? I'd say a half dozen or so teams maybe can win it all.
And does the Big Ten make it 4 years in a row?
Well, they've got 3 of those half dozen right there with Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana. This is a conference that has been very top heavy for the last few years, and they're winning national championships with that. And you saw a lot of complaining from the SEC this week that our conference is better top to bottom. And it's true. If you look at the advanced metrics, one of them, the SP Plus from ESPN, said that the bottom 7 teams of the Big Ten were worse than the worst SEC team. However, the 3 best Big Ten teams are better than everybody in the SEC. So that's ultimately why the SEC has more depth. They've got a lot of talent, but do they have as many national championship caliber teams? The Big Ten does. I like Ohio State and Oregon this year. I have to trust Cignetti's going to figure it out. Mm-hmm. It's a good chance they do it 4 in a row.
Notre Dame is minus $8 to make the playoff, and they host Miami in November. Are they going to be a team that makes the final or a deep run, in your opinion, with the talent they have and the schedule?
Yeah, the schedule is extremely easy, essentially. They lost USC, replaced it with BYU, who's like pretty good, but the Miami game's the big one. But Notre Dame, I'd be stunned if they don't make the playoff. I like the team. Defense is really strong. The secondary is probably the best in the country. CJ Carr, the quarterback, should be one of the best in the country. Offensive line is elite. Question is, do they have enough guys at running back? Do they have enough guys at receiver? They haven't had a game-breaking wide receiver in a little while now, and you just lost 2 running backs off to the NFL. So I like the foundational pieces, but we need to see, can they find those elite skill guys when they get into the playoff, which I think we're all going to presume they do, to win 2-3 games and make it that far? That's the question.
Okay, Chris, I mentioned all those teams, and you did, that can go and win a title. But give me a dark horse. Texas A&M's 20-1. They have questions. Texas Tech's 22-1. Bama, this is the lowest thought of Bama team that I can remember since Nick Saban left the Miami Dolphins. It's been a long time coming. I like Trinidad Chambliss and Ole Miss. I have questions about the coaching staff. Oklahoma, USC, Michigan, Penn State. If there's a team of that group that can, dare I say, play with the big boys, who is it?
I'm curious about Texas Tech. And I know they lost Brendan Sorsby, and if they had Sorsby, I'd feel a lot better about them. But Will Hammond's a pretty good quarterback as well, and I like the pieces that they brought in. They got the taste last year. Last year was their first conference championship in decades. Everybody wondered, can they put it together? Can they coexist with all these outside people coming in? They did. They've got a good culture there. They've got people who can buy in there. They've got a good coaching staff there that they retain those guys. And so I wonder if Texas Tech makes that like kind of year 2 jump that Indiana did last year. Because remember, Indiana made the playoff 2 years ago. They got destroyed by Notre Dame in the first game, and everybody said they don't deserve to be here. They went out, added Fernando Mendoza. He puts them over the top. Texas Tech goes and adds Brendan Sorsby. You think he might put him over the top. Now they don't have him. So that's obviously the question there. But the regular season schedule avoids BYU. The non-conference schedule is nothing. I'd be stunned if this team doesn't make the Big 12 championship game. And though they're my pick to win the conference. Now, can they win a game or two when they get into the playoff? Last year, you lose 23-0 to Oregon. Very ugly game. They know what it takes to play at that level now. And so can they maybe be looked over, bypassed because of the Sorsby thing, but actually maybe they have a lot of things there. I really like what they have in the lines, especially.
All good points, and that was ugly with the quarterback play in the playoff loss to Oregon. Can Mensa be as good as Beck? Or is it an upgrade from Miami at quarterback, in your opinion?
I think it is. I think Darian Mensa is a really, really good player. I think they've got better skilled players around the quarterback now. Malachi Toney's back, but they also grabbed Cooper Barkate, the top receiver at Duke. So Mensa's number one guy is with him there as well. I think he'll make this offense a lot more explosive than Carson Beck did. Beck, interceptions were a problem at times with Carson Beck. He would have some really bad games. The Louisville loss last year, the SMU loss last year. I think Mensa gives them perhaps more consistency, but also a higher ceiling. The offensive line should be solid again. They got the running backs back. I like all the pieces on this team, and I think Mensa upgrades what that offense can do.
Okay, Chris, Arch Manning. Got off to a rocky start last year. Bad offensive line, impossible first matchup against the Ohio State Buckeyes, finished the season strongly. Do you just fully anticipate that Arch at plus 750 to win a Heisman? Not that he's going to win a Heisman, but from a standpoint of his season, you think he picks up from right where he left off last year?
You know, coaches were really impressed with how he handled all that pressure. I think he had the 6th most pressures from his offensive line last year, and the footwork was a problem, but it got better late in the year. I think he learns from that. I think the toughness is there. I think his skill talent around him is a lot better. He's got Cam Coleman, came from Auburn, one of the best receivers in the country. They went out and paid big for him because they know they need some top receivers to play there with Arch. He's going to have a lot of opportunities to make some Heisman statements. Ohio State early in the season. If he starts off better, if they beat Ohio State early in the season, I think you will see the Heisman tension really, really start there. And Texas is going to have to make a playoff run. They can't drop 3 games again. But if they're dropping 3 games, it's probably because Arch isn't playing well. So he's as good a bet as any right now because I love the pieces they put around him.
Thanks for a few minutes, Chris. Have a good weekend, and can't wait for the season to start. Good to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
Chris Fanini, college football reporter of The Athletic. Follow him on X. He was on the Progressive guest line. As we go to break here, JJ, it was, I thought they really hurt themselves, and it was a bizarre week to read from the talking points, again with Sark and Kiffin and the losses, and to say essentially our trash is better than your trash at the bottom of the league. And it doesn't matter who wins at all. You're not the best conference. I thought Saban did a bad job as well. Win-lose coming up next. We have an update with the Honus-Wagner card and what this could mean for the industry straight ahead.
Circa Survivor, the quest for $18.7 million.
More money, more excitement. I'm from Perth in Australia.
Toronto. We added a new wrinkle, a $100,000 buy-in contest, Grandissimo.
All the big dogs are coming out for this.
It's the Superman of Survivor pools.
$3,743,600 for each Circa Survivor.
New episodes Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on VSiN. Check out Stormy and JVT on Money Moves, only on VSiN.
They are last in the division last year, and they were still 9-8, which was better than the winner of the NFC South a season ago.
My eyes have not come across English words that have said that J.J. McCarthy is killing it.
They'll take you on a fun, fast-paced journey, weaving in everything you need to know to make an educated bet, while also not shying away from the excitement of a same-game parlay sweat. Money Moves, weekdays at 2 p.m. Eastern on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Win Some, Lose Some is sponsored by the Sharp Plays.
Were you a winner last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser!
Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
The big winners today, Philadelphia 76ers and their fans, also Kalshi and DraftKings. Over $220 million was bet on the next team market for LeBron. Philly was the fourth choice this morning at 8.9%. He was 12-1 at DraftKings. He opened 30-1. Jaylen Brown was 100-1 to go to Philadelphia. Again, why was Golden State third the whole time, JJ, when they were ruled out by multiple NBA insiders? But number one, great job keeping a secret, and no one was strong on this, but he surprised a ton of people today, and not many people had it, as they were the fourth choice on Kalshi, but only 8.9% chance in a $220 million market with the LeBron news.
And what's crazy about it, Paulie, this whole Golden State angle, it developed so much steam around July 4th weekend where people are like, oh, it's going to happen. Anthony Davis is going, the whole deal. But if you connect the dots, if winning was going to be a priority for LeBron James, with those two loaded teams within the Western Conference, sorry, LeBron and Steph, as fun as it would have been, they don't got a prayer against either one of those two teams. Then you started looking at these Eastern Conference teams. Philly's a shocker. It's out of left field. But if winning was the priority, gives them the best chance to win, for better or worse.
They went from 18-1 to 8-9-1 to win the title. To win the East, cut in half. They were as low as plus 250 at DraftKings. They're plus 340 now. 350 in that range behind the Knicks to win the East. Win total here at circa 51.5. 50.5 at other spots. I like the under. It's going to take time with chemistry and to develop this team. And they are 2-1 to win the division. Behind the Knicks, also losers, the Miami Heat. They offer double the money, according to sources, but yet 2 years, $8 million to go to Philly. Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in, we'll put you on. JJ, I don't know how big you are into this market industry if you grew up in collecting cards like we did, but we had an expert on a couple weeks ago, and there was a great article done on Keith Olbermann, who had a Honus Wagner card restored, and he just had the slab. And he contacted a guy, and who disappeared afterwards, but contacted a guy to fix the Wagner card, to restore it. It has a different color, gave it a different background, whatever. It's already going for $750,000 on auction. Darren Ravel thinks it goes for $2.5 million. So we had John Calvecchio on, sports.connection.cards, and he runs the business and an expert. You can check him out on Instagram. This is what he said. I go, how dangerous is this for the industry and Pandora's box? He says, very. And he gave me an example. And there was a collector who said he wanted to sell him his 86 Jordan Fleer card, which you can look at right now. The front looks beautiful. Great card. I had it. Not in that. Didn't look like that. I had a nick corner. But look on the back. This is rare, but there was looked like there was an ink problem. Running ink on the back of the card. You can see at the top right. He says it takes at least $60,000 or more off the value of the card. He's saying, what if I contact the guy who did this for Olbermann and I restore it, so now anybody can fix a factory flaw in a card? And it's okay now? Because Olbermann had to go to a different place to get it graded because the other places don't grade, quote, restored, fixed, altered cards, whatever you want to use. But if this thing goes for $2.5 million, this Honus Wagner card, but I don't know what this means for the future of the industry, but it's not good. Opening Pandora's box. That's from the expert today, John Calvecchio, and the illustration with the Jordan is an example.
Well, Paulie, for what it's worth, by the way, if I'm going and spending 60 G's to get a card restored, I better be cashing for at least $500,000.
No kidding.
You know what I mean? And I better have that guarantee in stone before I go and make that investment. And listen, I was a big-time card guy as a kid. I can't say that I am dialed into it at this stage in my life. but I am doing a show at my parents' house right now, Paulie, as I have some free childcare, which is an absolute thing of beauty. I may have to run up into the attic next break and bring out some of the old baseball cards to see what I have in store. Maybe we can make some money.
No kidding. No kidding. Our guy Bruce Marshall taking some heat today. SEC media poll out. Bruce said he was going to do it. He voted Kentucky #1 to win the SEC. Anti-establishment. People are mad at him. But he also wanted to say, I want to make sure they're counting every vote. And my vote is counted. So there you see the one guy there. That was Bruce voting Kentucky #1. Sports calendar never stops. Sharp Plays covers it all. Winning for 15 straight years. All of it documented and posted publicly at sharpplays.com. Respected, watched, and feared. Reaching out to over 500 sources worldwide across all sports and sending it out to subscribers in real time when they move. The books take notice. Jeff and the crew are excellent. Been with us since day one. Start winning with them. Sharpplays.com. I like some of your NFL futures, JJ. You're strong on the Broncos. Not enough attention paid to Denver. They love their new OC, Davis Webb. Also, you're down on Pittsburgh, 42-year-old quarterback McCarthy coming in. I like that as well. Do you have any other any picks in terms of watch out for this player or someone who could fall on their face, whether it's a team or an individual?
Okay, if I'm going to watch out for a player, I want to go to the Denver Broncos. I think Jalen Waddle is going to have a monster season at Denver because I think Sean Payton is going to draw up a ton of plays for him. They are going to have big play capabilities because, hey, they have a team that looks to stretch the field. Bo Nix does a really good job of stretching the field, and Waddle's got unbelievable speed. I know they gave up a ton to get him. I understand why Miami parted ways, but this is a guy who made some big plays for the Dolphins over the last few years. I am very bullish. I'll be betting a lot of overs for Jalen Waddle as far as yardage is concerned. May get involved in his touchdown market. Big believer in Jalen Waddle helping out the Denver Broncos will be worth the cost. This is kind of a theme, Paulie, for me, as far as player and as far as team. Don't you get the sense the Caleb Williams hype train is getting a little out of control right now?
Okay. Yeah, I'll play along. I think that, yeah.
No, but you don't seem committed on this. You don't seem committed on this.
Well, I thought the hatred 2 years ago was absurd just because of the clowns.
Well, I think that we can split the difference. I agree with that. Okay. I actually think that is completely spot on. The people who went after him after his rookie year were not paying attention. The coaching was so bad. He was so out of sorts. He was obviously going to look better. But I've seen some stuff with Caleb Williams this year that he's going to be like the second best quarterback in the league. Like I saw a couple of takes. I forget where I saw them. I can't even credit who made the statement that we might be saying at the end of this year that Caleb Williams is in the same sentence as Josh Allen. I'm like, guys, let's come down with that. Let's cool the jets on that. I am not ready to look at Caleb Williams now and put the crown on him. You know what I mean? Like I think this season is going to be rough for Chicago. I think it's going to be a step back for Chicago. Tough schedule. Won a lot of close games a year ago, and now everybody's expecting the next great leap, which is a championship game or a Super Bowl. I think they're going to be like a 500 type team. So that's a team a lot of people are very split on. I think going into this year, Paulie, I will not be in on the Chicago Bears.
All right. And the more I think about it, and we touched on this yesterday, these props up at Will Hill and Caesars, a quarterback to throw for 500 yards in a game, and the no is $1.15. I can't believe that price. Will a quarterback throw 5 interceptions in a game? No is minus 330. Will a quarterback throw 6 touchdowns in a game? No, minus 250. And will a wide receiver have 4 touchdowns in a game? No, minus 450. Will a running back have 4 touchdowns in a game or more? Yes is minus 240. I mentioned the Henry game last year at Lambeau as well. There's some good stuff up with those season-long props. And again, I'm strong on this too, which is there's offered September specials at Caesars. Highest scoring and lowest scoring game. Highest scoring game of the month, week 2, Thursday night. Detroit and Buffalo, 11-1. The last time they played 2 years ago was 48-42. And that's your favorite for a reason. But you can play with some of those markets, and that's pretty good. But $1.15, I know. It's like you said yesterday. I mean, you got to be down 21 points early, and you got to be playing catch-up, and a quarterback's got to throw 50 times. That's something. It hasn't happened in 2 years.
No, but the league is crazy. The rules are set up for quarterbacks. It can be done. By the end of this show, may have to convince you on a week 1 bet you got to go and make with me.
All right.
I've already made one for week 1.
All right.
We'll see if I can get you on board. Paulie, we call that a tease in the business, my man.
Excellent. My guy Kramer up next. A lot of props, a lot of futures, and he's with me